Discovery, go and throttle up. Discovery, go and throttle up. Discovery, go and throttle up. Discovery, go and throttle up.
What's up, everybody? How are you? You well rested? Well rested? Yes? No? Oh, okay. All right. Well rested. People were asking, what was that? Well, that's what that was. That's what that was. Want more Artemis? Where's EJ? There he is. You guys like planes? You guys like planes? I like planes. Planes are pretty fun. It's been a wild trip, dude. These last 3 weeks have been a little... Did you get tan out in Kansas? Dude, you have no idea. Ready? Look. Oh! Oh, that's bad.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
That's bad. Totally guessed it was a Strat by the sound. Yeah. The DBF streams attracted some new folks to the channel. Well, good, man. Good. You touched grass, weirdo. Yeah. Listen, I already bought a truck. I'm not picking up my guitar yet. Good review. Yeah, thanks, Will. Yeah, right on. How nasty was that storm? It actually ended up going around us, dude, on Friday. Better change the B string. Yeah, I tuned it fast. It's probably not exactly ready to go. Did you get to keep the AIAA jacket? Yes. Yeah, they let me keep it because they're awesome. The AIAA is full of some really good people, dude. Really good people. Really care about, you know, teaching people about planes and aviation and aerospace and stuff, and I'm here for it, man. I'd move mountains for those people, dude. Not even kidding. Yeah, their let's just say their merch game is on point, dude. It's really nice. Do me a favor and tell me if my truck is destined for the trail. Stop whining about the paint. It's nice to finally have a good truck. You got a 2015 Silverado Z71 Deep Ruby Metallic. And I found one of the meticulously maintained ones. Just got to keep up the legacy. Take care of it. It'll take care of you, dude. Move mountains? What about ducks? We can move ducks, too. And hockey pucks. I got a couple of them on my shelf. It's George Washington Duck. Or George Quackington. Quack Georgington? Sorry. Now you can buy a Jeep. Having worked on Jeeps, no, I will not be doing that. I will do no such thing. Yeah, whammy page. This, oh yeah, this does have the whammy page. That's it. Who was doing the tracking camera on the ground? It was freaking great. That was Gage. Rough Rider show, dude. Yeah, Gage is cool. We like Gage a lot. He does a lot of the work down in Starbase. Yeah, he does a lot of the work down at Starbase. Setting up cameras, you know, making sure the cameras are maintained, like NSF North, South. Yeah, Gage. So what Gage does is he tracks air shows on his YouTube channel, Rough Riders Show. Yeah, he goes and follows the Blue Angels around and like streams the air shows, Blue Angels, Thunderbirds, Canadian Snowbirds, Red Arrows, stuff like that. Did Gage move down to replace Yak? He's down there a lot. Nobody really replaced Mr. Yak. So that's Jerry Digital. Jerry Pike was doing the drone work. And their camera work is what made me look good, dude. And that's a hard thing to do. That's not easy to do, making your boy look good. Yeah, there you go. So we'll get in and play some Kerbal here in a second. What happened to Mary? Mary moved back home, dude. She moved back to, I don't know. Yeah, she moved back to her home state, dude. Did you see Reed Wiseman's photo of the Earth set? Yeah. My dad did the intonation on this guitar. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, man. Pretty good, dude. That sounds real nice. Do you know the intro to 2112? No. Thunderstruck. Eruption? It's hard to do with single coil pickups. That's why Eddie Van Halen made his own guitar with double coil pickups built in. That's why he made the 5150 guitar, the one with the red, white, and black stripes. He made that because he wanted the bluesy sound of a Fender, but you need those double coils to do stuff like this. In terms of Thunderstruck, here.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Hey, Johnny Kyle, welcome back. Those poor pickups are struggling. Yeah. I have a Fender. We have the other guitar, the red guitar. That one's being rebuilt because I played the snot out of it. That one has double coil pickups, so you can play all kinds of stuff.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Hey, Big Double. Thank you for the Prime sub and Yum Food. What's going on? 32-month resub. Guys, give me a second to get back in. We'll fire up Kerbal in a moment here. It's been busy. 3 weeks. Busy. Yeah. It's been a busy 3 weeks, we'll say. Bought my first Newton meter torque wrench. Thought about you? Yeah.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
That sounds really good through the single coils. All right, I got some new configs done for engines in KSP. I have a waterfall plume that's based off of the R68 for the skipper, and the skiff now has a Carolox plume based off of the MVAC. Oh, neat. Well, Leon, it made you... Hey, Spoiled, what's up, man? It made you very happy that Psyduck made its third try and successfully made it back to the ground without going nose first again. Yeah, they had Psyduck on their winglets. That was pretty funny, dude. Some of those kids really put their heart and soul into those planes, dude. It's pretty cool to see. It was fun. That was a lot of fun doing that. It was a privilege from our friends over at the AIAA. That was cool. It was a good time. All right, you guys ready? Let's go putzing around with one of the rockets. Let's make SLS here. Let me shut that all off. Some of them are pretty good pilots. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The 70s performance of Rumble is goated. Oh yeah, no, it's a good time. Space news today. I think we're gonna, yeah, I think we're gonna have to do that. Let me turn on the filter again here. All right.
Discovery, go and throttle up.
Hey, Biff. Tier 3, 93-month resub. Hey, EJ, managed to go watch Project Hail Mary in IMAX this week, and I honestly don't think there could be a better movie this decade. Yep. Maybe recreate your favorite plane from the competition? Building SLS. I'll be back in 3 years to check on you. Oh. Man. I've heard that the industry sometimes watches these events for possible recruits. William, there were people from all the sponsors that Clay was mentioning at the opening ceremony, and all the sponsors that we mentioned at the beginning and the end of the ceremony, or at the middle and the end of the ceremony, they were all there. Oh, they all had desks there. We didn't get too much time to get into that, because once the flight line opened, it was just boom. Anduril supports that event. So Anduril supports that. RTX was there. General Atomics was there. They all had people there, dude. So yeah, that's like, they're headhunting, man. That's what they're doing. They're headhunting, as they should. And that's what that whole DBF event is about. That's why the AIAA does it, dude. That's why they do it. They do it to give college kids, give AE students some hands-on experience in systems engineering and design and prototyping, and to also match them with people in the industry, to give them the skills to succeed out in the industry. That's not just corpo talk. That's why, and you guys know I'm not into that kind of stuff, dude. I don't do that. When they say stuff like that, they mean it. That's what they do. I love that organization. They really do good work, and I'm not just saying that to kiss their tail. Really, I'm not. They're awesome. So, fellas, you know this book? This book I always reference on stream. Uh-oh. Guess who facilitated that? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No, it's a great organization. I'm surprised I've never crossed paths with any of them before. What is that? That's the book that taught me a lot about propulsion. Hey, Sawyer, what's up, dude? Okay, Kubo, AIAA is a good organization. Been in it for a while. Their SciTech conference is great in Orlando each January. Yeah, I might just go. I might just go down there. Discovery is the best shuttle. Challenger's better. Just my opinion. Welcome back. In my opinion, New Glenn reuse isn't as good as everybody is saying. It was all new engines, not really saving much money with that. Dude. Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. Blue had a bad day over the weekend, no doubt. But with the first stage, they replaced all the engines. As far as I could tell from what Dave Limp and a couple of other guys were saying, is that they replaced the engines because they're switching to a newer version of the BE4 based off of what they learned from getting them back. It speaks to the iteration, dude. Like, that's why. They're not going to replace the engines every time. No YouTube stream? Give me a second. I have to get back into the groove, Halingar. I'm like... Hey, Cosmic. What book do you have? It's an AIA book, actually. It's called Modern Engineering for Design of Liquid Propellant Rocket Engines. Mine's a little beat up because I use it all the time. You guys want to know, like, how I learned about Orion's pressure control assemblies and how I knew how all that worked? From, like, when we did the Artemis 2 streams, like, when they were talking about PCAs. No, it wasn't a replacement. They were upgrades. So, I mean, give them some time, dudes. Give them some time. They'll get it. Give them some time. Now, the flip side of that is that time is not a thing that we have. Time is very much a luxury nowadays, especially since we have a deadline. So now, it's not necessarily about just upgrading it and going from there. They gotta get stuff working. You know, like, now's the time. Now's the time to get it done. I think Blue has a significant enough industrial base to really make some work here. Get some work done. To be honest, the Blue hate on X is wild. Sorry, look at the hardware, man. What do you mean, like... You should send this to Boeing? Oh, come on. Yeah, I mean... Stuff's tough, dude.
Discovery,
Stuff tough.
go
You gotta give it the care that it deserves, or you're gonna get bit real fast. Ren, you started watching From the Earth to the Moon, loving it so far. It's awesome, dude. And I'm very pleased to say, Ren, like, if you watch the last part 24 on YouTube, I think it was part 5 on Twitch, the last day of the Artemis mission when they splashed down, if you watch the very end of that stream, we can now add to that story, which is pretty cool. I think that's really neat. Hey, Big Body, 86-month resub. MacB, 63-month resub. How was plane watching? I had a lot of fun, dude. I had a lot of fun. Yeah, Sawyer, I know. That's why I said that. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. What are you not gonna figure it out? Like, welcome back. Hey, Smithers, really enjoyed the commentary over the weekend. The challenge of completing the 3 missions is great for the university teams to make design choices. It reminded me of DARPA's Grand Challenge. That was the initial research.
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Into our current self-driving cars on the road today. Oh, hey, Nova gifted a sub to the AAA. I don't even know if that's their account, dude. Either way. Looked fun, except when you had the bad weather. The bad weather really hosed us, man. Yeah, on the first day. But yeah, that was a lot of work, dude. It was a lot of work, but man, was the payout worth it. That was fun. I genuinely had a really good time, dude. Like, yeah. Mukekubo, AIAA has been running student competitions for a few decades. At least when I was in high school, they also had pure design competitions for spacecraft. Yep. Xerax, 59-month resub. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Yeah, Ren, for sure. Pete Conrad's a funny dude. He was a funny dude. Him and Al Bean, that whole mission was fantastic. It's just been a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. The last 3 weeks have been busy, but they've been fun. It's a good time. Welcome home. Thank you. All right. Shall we get YouTube up and get Kerbal running? All right. Let's do this. You and Brimo need a vacation. I'm going to take Thursday off this week because I'm taking my wife out to dinner for her birthday. So, yeah. I'm not going to be here on Thursday. Keep Wumbo maxing. I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. We might take some time off in the future. But yeah. It's awesome. Today is the news conference about Nancy Roman. Yeah, there should be a press conference about Nancy Roman telescope, dude. They got a launch date for it for, September 26th. Hey Rob, what's going on? You need to take time for yourself after all the hard work. Is it bad if taking time for myself is having fun playing Kerbal? Is that bad? It's kind of bad. We got Electron in 5.5 hours. Really now? We do. Another Electron. All right. Let's go. You scheduled an Electron launch to welcome you back. Oh. Wow. How kind of you. How kind of you. The flight stream commentary was fun to watch. Great commentary. I was trying, dude. Like, actually, it was only after I talked to Mujahid that I really kind of realized, like, I know a lot about planes, but I don't know a lot about planes, dude. I was getting humbled with some of his explanations, and you know what, man? I'm fine. Like, I want to learn more. Like, I don't throw the pride out the window, dude. Let me learn more about planes, man. That's why I was like, what I had Mujahid on the last day. I was just like, wait a minute. He's an aerospace professor. Planes. Mujahid plus plane. Oh! You know, it was like it stopped, like it was a freeze frame, and then it's like EJ Think Bubble. Plane guy plus airplane competition. Oh, I'm gonna have fun with this. Did you bring home a duck? Yeah. Yeah, Santic. I actually, I was talking more with Mujahid after, and I was like, dude, come on the stream. He's like, okay. I'm like, what? Wait, it's that easy? You could just ask? And he's like, yeah. So, yeah. I also have a gift from the AIAA. See, he's, the patent one is camouflage. You can't see him. And then the ninja one you can't see either. I have cargo and passengers. Flight proven. Patent duck. Have those flown? Yeah, man. Have George Washington duck, Ninja Duckin, and Patton duck. General Duck S. Patton. No Minecraft duck? I couldn't find one. I wanted Minecraft duck, but I couldn't find Minecraft duck. George Washington duck. Yeah. Oh, I actually, it's down in the house. I got to go get it. I got the University of Ljubljana's patch. The Slovenian team that won. I wouldn't talk with those guys. Those guys, yeah, they were cool. I got to chit chat with them for a little while after the stream. You can now own a Jeep. Yep. Yeah. Those guys are cool. Yeah. Cientic. You want nerds. Oh, nerds. Big nerds. And I mean that in a good way. What was your favorite plane name? The bathtub was pretty funny, dude. The bathtub, I think, is the one that made me laugh the most. Either that or Psyduck. Yeah, Dom, dude, that plane was really good, dude. Like, Gage's track was amazing. He did such a good job, but just standing there and see that thing fly around, dude, it looked like a mosquito. It was just, I'm just like, what? How did you do that? That plane is real good, dude. They put in work, man. They showed me all the work that they put in. Let me just say, I won't get into detail, right? Because, you know, I don't want to spill the secrets, right? Just in case. But I was like, how'd you guys get this plane to fly? And they're like, oh, we have tables. I'm like, oh, yeah? And they're like, yeah, you want to see them? I'm like, yes, I do. Yeah. Dude, they did a lot of analysis. Like, dude, very tight engineering. Very, very tight. It was a pleasure to see that thing fly around. Yes, 3LRD, yes. Rip side duck. It's all right. I don't know, Kenzoku. I don't think so. Gage lost a selenium plane on their mission 1. Dude, that thing's thrust to weight was ridiculous. Like, it was honestly... Like, for a scratch-built design, dude, seeing that thing cut through the air was impressive, dude. So what's the competition for? Bragging rights? It's just a college competition. It's for bragging rights to show off your skills. I flew an RC plane once. Dude, the last RC plane that I flew was, like, when I was in middle school, and I think it's still in the tree that I parked it in, like, 20 years ago. Glad you made it home safe. Thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah. It's, that competition is really fun, dude. I would go to that again. It's a good time. It's fun, dude. And then, of course, there's Artemis 3, like, or Artemis 2. Just, the past 2 weeks have been nuts for space news. Like most college competitions, there's also reason to do stuff. But that Ljubljana plane was so good it could be sold. Dude, if they sold kits, I would buy one. I'm not even kidding. That plane was so ridiculously dialed in, dude. Like, it was good, man. It was good. There were other good ones, too. Embry-Riddle Prescott had a really good plane, too. Their plane was cutting through the air like nobody's business. And so was MIT's. MIT's plane was really good, too. I mean, they're all good, dude. Like, to be honest, they're all good. It's not easy making a dang airplane, like, right? Like, that's not easy. Even if it is an RC plane, scratch building one, you have to scratch build it. No off-the-shelf parts. Like, the fact that all those planes that got up in the air, that's impressive, dude. Because there was a lot of different designs. What about the Dorito? Oh, dude, I'm a sucker for blended wings. I love blended wings. I was trying not to be like... Yeah, the Instituto Tecnológico de Buenos Aires. That was the Argentinians there. Dude, that thing was sick. That thing was so cool, man. I love blended wings. Blended wings make me so happy. Yeah, the which Hong Kong team was it? There was 2 teams from Hong Kong. There was Hong Kong Polytech, and then there was Cheng Kung University. I think it was Cheng Kung. They were locked in. That plane was sick. Like, some of those planes are cool. Like, I was like, I want to fly that. The motors and stuff, Katra, yeah. But like I'm talking fuselage and airfoil design, dude. Has to be scratch built. You can use off-the-shelf servos and electronics, etc., etc. But yeah, dude, it was fun. That was a lot of fun to watch, dude. And I had a front row seat to everybody's flights. Did you see the FAXX concept from Northrop? Yeah. The Ohio State. Yeah, Ohio State had a Catfish 2. They showed up with no plane. They showed up with no plane a couple of days before the competition. They went to an office supply store, bought a bunch of foam board, and made a freaking plane, which is... okay. All right, that is a strategy. I think their plane was originally supposed to be Atlas. That was the name of their plane. I talked to them very, very briefly. Yeah, and for whatever reason, Atlas didn't work. So they just made a plane out of foam core and sent it. And it didn't perform the worst, dude. It was pretty cool. Yeah, field expedient. Yeah, that was a bold strategy, but they had to play it. Dude, it worked. That plane flew. They got to mission 2. That's pretty impressive. All right. Are we ready to... what did you think of the UNC Charlotte team? They did all right. What was... I forget what their plane was. I forget what UNC Charlotte's plane was, dude. There was a lot. There was a lot of planes to keep track of, man. I was trying to keep track of most of them. Virginia Tech was there. They did pretty good, Slackster, yeah. Clavic, you're starting a dream job next week. You'll be testing prototype vehicles. Oh. All right. Let's go. Oh, my dad messaged me. Thanks for the shout out. You're fixing the fender... You're fixing your Fender practice amp today, and it needs a new input jack. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you took that back. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I had a little Fender mini amp. I guess you took it. All right, whatever. Were there any teams from the Netherlands? No. The A10 has been given another 4-year reprieve. Cool. Why not just make more? Who won the competition? Slovenia. Slovenia bested University of Washington Seattle by like 0.9 duck coin or something. It was close. Yeah, UW Seattle, they did really good. Yeah, good stuff. Why not build 100 more SLSs? Why not? Why not? I don't know what's stopping us. The Slovenians plane was, dude, that thing was sick, man. It was really good. The production line has been closed for decades for the A10. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here, especially coming from where I just came from, saying that a plane is easy to make, but I'd say out of all the planes we have, the A10 is probably on the easier side of a military plane to make. I'm just saying, like, just putting it out there. Like, you know, there's like an F-35 over here, and there's like an A-10 over here. It's probably easier to make than an F-35, right? Like, why should we make more? We need to retire them, send this to various museums, and then a decade later... Yeah. Yeah, don't touch that last part, dude. Like... There was a German team whose plane crashed the day before it should have been shipped, so they showed up without any plane. Yeah, Munich. Yeah, I think we did talk to them, but I'm not sure if I did it on stream or not, dude. That whole weekend was a blur. All right. Anyway, let's show the title screen here. How about we play some KSP? Let me fire up YouTube and go. All right, we're live over on YouTube. What's going on, everybody? We're gonna play some KSP today. Jojo, didn't even have time for that, dude. Did you talk about New Glenn? I have talked about New Glenn in the past couple of days, if that's what you're asking. What's going on, YouTube? How you doing? It's been a second, hasn't it? Great event coverage. Thank you. So context for the YouTube VOD viewers. This is the first stream back from the AIAA Design, Build, and Fly competition. So I'm like, hey, what's up, dude, man, person? I believe the bulletproof pilot cabin of the A-10 is difficult to make. Yeah, the titanium bathtub? Just pull them out of the old A-10s. Is your KSP SLS going to have orange or white and black? We're going to go with the white tank because we're making it with stock parts. Were there any German teams? Yeah, there was one, but their plane crashed, so they showed up without an airplane. And they were helping other teams, which was cool. How was the competition? It was great, Rarest. Yeah, really fun. Real fun, dude. That was... I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I wasn't sure, what to expect from that. But, man, is that a good time. It's really fun. I would recommend it for anybody that, you know, if you're at the collegiate level, build one. Build one. Enter it in it, dude. It's pretty cool. How's it going? It's going good, Newmark. Okay, Harris, you performed your first orbital flight in KSP and collected some goo. Sounds wrong, but it is what it is. Well, did you observe it? Because that's what matters. You planning on doing a space news tonight? Yeah. Yeah, probably. You observed it? Good, good, good. I know you've been neck deep in planes, but have you watched any playoff hockey? No. And I'm just refusing to acknowledge what's going on right now. Will you guys be back next year? You know, we haven't... They seemed keen, dude, but, like... You know, this, We'll see. We'll see. I think we made a good impression. I'm pretty sure we did. We'll see. We'll see where it takes us. I would love to go back. Did you see the B-21 pics? I've seen a picture of a B-21. Hey, Baron. Save. What save should we build this in? Let's go over here. Baron, how you doing, buddy? Dude, like, I want to do Artemis 2 stuff, but I also want to do plane stuff. Like, we'll work on planes tomorrow. Pics from the tanker from the fueling test. I have seen those pictures, yes. Hey, Wartos, what's up, dude? Neat. All right, let's jump in, dudes. So, I have something that's more like direct. Direct is kind of a mini version of SLS. That was proposed after the Constellation, well, during and after the Constellation program. One second. I got a message. Yeah, no guarantees of flying or doing DBF in the future, but I would say that there is a positive trend there, and yeah, we'll kind of leave it at that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'd like to think, like I said, I'd like to think that we made a good impression. I would move mountains for the AIAA. I'm not even kidding. It's a great organization. Their like whole thing is to just teach people about space and planes. That's like the reason why that whole thing exists. And I'm like, huh. That's what I do. You know, like, need to wear the suit and it'll be a done deal. I'm not standing in a field for like 10 hours straight in a suit, man. My knees were killing me. And I got sunburned, but whatever, man. Have we strapped Jeb to a booster yet? Oh, that's your job. I know, Urban, right? Like, dude, that's what they're all about, man. Who else from NSF was with you? I had Gage and Jerry with me. It was just a 3-man team, dude. And then Kevin produced it. Ryan produced it. And Das, actually. Das did some of the production remote. Was that field in your state? No, Kens. Kansas is nowhere near me, dude. I'll show you. I'll show you where we were. So I'm up here.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I'm up here in Massachusetts, okay? Kansas is over here. We were over in Wichita, which, you know what, dude? I don't know too much about this place. I've never been to Kansas before, but this place is like airplane heaven. I'm like not even kidding. Like, look at, there's 4 airports in the area of the city. There's like 4 airports. I've already read it well, I've read some of it. I haven't read all of it. Hear me out. Artemis 3 without ICPS at Jupiter 140. Kind of, yeah. Weren't you right outside 2 or 3 USAF bases? We were over here at Beach Field, dude. The competition... So the flight line was right here on the corner of the taxiway and the runway. I stood in this corner right here next to the taxiway Foxtrot indicator for like 10 hours a day. Whatever, dude. Gage's camera was right here, and then the crowds were like over here. And then the flight line was right here. And then the course was something like this. Hold on. So it went down here. Then it went around here like this, and then they had to do... Oops, I hit the X button. They had to do the 360-degree turn here and then go down and come back. It was just a loop with a turn on the back straight. I was trying to call that as best as I could, but yeah. This is one of Textron's facilities. This is Beach Field. So if you like Beechcraft, yeah, that's like where every Beechcraft was made. No big deal. Like, every Beechcraft was made in Wichita. Every Cessna was made in Wichita. Cessnas are over here. And when I say every Cessna, I mean like 172s, Citations. I like the Citation CJ4. I drove by the factory, which is really cool. You guys know I like factories. So... But yeah, this is the runway that we were using here. There was all kinds of cool stuff going on there. Are 172s still being made? Yeah. Yeah, man. It's not called a 172. It's like a Skyhawk, I think, is what it's called. And yeah, Boeing has a huge facility here too at McConnell Air Force Base. Dude, there were KC-46s and KC-135s flying around all the time, dude. Super, super cool. A-10? Cool. Closet. Prime sub, thank you. Gage and Jerry got to go to this museum. I had to go home. There's a lot of cool planes over there. Boeing's B-29 facilities are down here. They don't make B-29s there anymore, though. What they make is 737 fuselages. And then get this, the 737 fuselages, they shipped them to Renton in Seattle for final assembly. They're using their Wichita facility to make 737s, or at least parts of it. It's a sub-assembly contractor, but this is the airfield. This is one of 2 airfields where B-29s were made. Speaking of B-29s, one of 2 airworthy B-29s operates out of ICT over here. Hey, Chief. Face, that's a building you work at right there? Oh, man, why didn't you tell me, dude? We could have... Well, I was going to say, there's apparently a lot of viewers that live around here. Apparently a lot of viewers. Had I known, I would have changed my flight itinerary for another day, but so to do a meetup. But, yeah. All good? I'm good, yeah. Yeah, Pace, I spent most of my time at Beach Field just standing right there. Fun times, though. Yeah, dude, this place is like plane heaven. There's just airplanes freaking everywhere. You know, I knew that the B-29 plant was here, and I knew that they made 737 fuselages there, but then you see it up close, and you're like... There's a lot of airplanes here. This is ridiculous. Yeah, Learjet too, dude. Everyone, every like general aviation is there. Like, who isn't there? Like Piper? Piper's out of Florida, right? Like, but dude, Beechcraft, Cessna, Learjet, Boeing. So Textron is Beechcraft and Cessna. Like, it's just... Holy crap, dude. There's a huge... planes. Lots of planes. Like, planes. Dude, I knew it. Like, Pace, like, that's the thing. I knew it, but then you put 2 and 2 together and you're like... There's a lot of airplanes here. Freaking planes. Bulgarian guy, I saw you have 6 monitors. I'm curious what's the refresh rate, and do they share the same computer? Thank you. It's not 6. It's 5. 5 monitors. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This one has 120 refresh rate because it's in 4K. Everything else is 60. In terms of that, 2 computers drive this system. These 2 are hooked up to that computer behind me. That's the Canard. My chat named it that because they know I hate canards. So they built me a computer called Canard and shipped it to my house. Because... Anyway, this computer, and or that screen, and that screen. The 2 on the outside and the 1 up there is run by my encoding rig, which is called Rusty panel. It's behind here over there on a rack. What is SLS? SLS is the Space Launch System. Here, let's play. UK dude, say hello to America's newest NASA contractor starting Monday. What a rush. Yo. Yeah, you got a proper mission control setup. That's what it takes to run the stream. Yeah, this Logitech is going strong. Yeah, I play Kerbal with this. Doesn't need to be complicated, man. What a nice setup. I've accrued it over time. I'm looking at the camera like that one's still on. I've accrued it over time, dude. Like, the Canard is really... Chat made that, and they're very nice. They were very nice to me. You guys are very generous, and I do appreciate it. I try to put my heart and soul into this because it's worth it, right? Like, but yeah, I'm glad you guys had fun watching DBF. I wasn't sure if you guys would want to watch something like that, but I think the numbers kind of speak for themselves. I did go look at it, and I'm like, oh, okay. You have a Sidewinder Precision. That is old school, dude. Myers, you've been trying KSP again recently, but I only have the Xbox version. Feel like it's a little more difficult. Yep. He's back. I'm here.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I loved it and had never heard of it before. Yeah, Monosonic. It's cool, man. That's a fun competition. It makes me want to go fly some of the planes that we've made in this game around. Nice, Dom. There you go. That's good. GBF coverage event was great. You're welcome. Yeah, this is the gyrocopter. Banner plane in KSP when? How are we gonna make a banner, Saber? How's that gonna work? We just gotta put a bunch of robotics. Like, how are we gonna do a fluid simulation?
Discovery,
I actually
go
just
at
thought of
throttle
a
up.
way to do it, but that's okay. Panels and hinges, dude. Take the smallest hinges and take a bunch of flags and... That would tempt the Kraken so hard, dude. That would tempt the Kraken so hard, we'd be so screwed. That would absolutely break it. Are there any up-and-coming alternatives to KSP? Yeah, there's Kitten Space Agency, which is like a spiritual successor, which I'm a consultant on. I do consulting work for them. Zathurion, congrats on the AIAA stream. It was fun to watch all those different solutions the students came up with. Yep, yeah, man. All right, we'll save that for Wings Wednesday tomorrow, okay? Shame you can't have a strong wind in KSP. See how challenging it is. Faber, what I've done in the past to simulate windage, dude, is to I took a plane and I put a jet engine, like a small jet engine, on a swivel mount, right? So you could point the jet engine like on top of the plane 360 degrees, so you could blow the plane sideways, dude. Dude, it works. Like, so yeah, I've done it. I've also used the engines to simulate ground effect, right? Have the downward facing engines to make like a ground effect plane. Yeah, so I used it to show people how to crab a landing one time, which was pretty fun. Lovin, 80-month resub. What's going on? Dude, the wind was playing havoc with those dang planes. I felt bad. Some kids just, they can't choose when they go. They just go down the list, right? Like, so your flight time is, for the most part, scheduled, right? And, yeah, if you miss one, you're kind of screwed. Like, you have to fly the mission when they say. So, like, USC was team number 1. They always went first, right? So they had to fly first. Like, they had to be ready first thing in the morning or else you weren't flying.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
So, like, the first day, like, they had, like, they took off into a 20-knot headwind, and the plane took off and just kind of sat there. Where the airspeed, like, the wind, the thrust that the engine was making was equivalent to the wind, so the plane just stood there. It just kind of sat there above the ground we didn't get that. Like, we weren't ready on the flight line to stream it, dude. Oh, I wish I had, man. That plane, they basically activated the engines, a gust of wind hit, and the plane just took off and sat there stationary. Like, 0 ground speed. I was just sitting there going, okay. Yeah, it VTOL'd, exactly, yeah. Hey, Toity, 114-month resub. So for SLS, are you going to make the ICPS? I don't know. Yeah, Hellfish, for sure. Yeah, that's the other thing I learned. It's very windy in Kansas, or at least that part of Kansas. It's very, very windy. So this is my direct rocket. Direct is more a shortened version of SLS. The reason why it's a shortened version of SLS is because it uses shuttle 4-segment boosters. But SLS has 5-segment boosters, so I was thinking we're gonna have to fudge around with the booster design here a little bit. And see if we can make a 5th segment. And then what I was thinking for our 5-segment boosters, right? Because we can't add segments. What I was thinking with them is take like a thumper, right? And just quite actually just do that. Like for the 5-segment, just bury another SRB in there to get the better thrust, but I don't know exactly. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but Just Read the Instructions has a new... yeah, I actually had a whole thing about that. Me, Nathan, and Ground Truth were talking about it this morning. There's a whole thread. There's some cool stuff in here, some cool speculation if you guys want to go read that. Gotta dial in the trail offs and stuff. I was thinking use the same trail offs, dude, and just have a little extra boost off the pad. I think that should be sufficient. I mean, tail offs, excuse me. Highest sustained winds I've seen in Kansas was 60 miles an hour. Not common, but mind you, it is a windy place. Yeah, Saber, she's windy. So check this out. GPS 3S V10 landed on Just Read the Instructions last night. And then, look. Build an Ares 1 to test it. That's a really good idea. All right. All right, I will. Jebstone 4. We'll take Jebstone 4 and give it a 5-segment booster. Hey, Dan, what's going on? Welcome back. Did anyone have their trainer plane and a putty box to give you RC flight lessons? No, I didn't fly any planes, dude. But let me tell you, dude, I've been in plane heaven for the last...
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Oh, stage 1 landing leg deploy. Oh, yeah, here. I've been in plane freaking heaven for the last, like, week. Just here, have some airplanes. Like, it's like, okay. But yeah, the, yeah, freaking... SV10, GPS 3 SV10 was the last landing on Just Read the Instructions. Just Read the Instructions is going to be Just Read the Instructions is going to be retooled. It's actually down here in the thread. I actually did tweet that from my kitchen. Yeah, Eric Goodson actually commented on it. That's cool. Neat. Let's see. Where's the thread? Yeah, here we go. Look. With 39A becoming a primarily Falcon Heavy and Starship pad, we don't actually need 2 operational drone ships on the East Coast to maintain our Falcon manifest. Think of pads, drone ships like airplane runways, where you need a landing runway for each takeoff runway. Ideally, they are the same runway, i.e. Starship. See? Dude, I was saying a little bit earlier, guys, a couple months ago. Actually, I think that was last year. I don't remember. I was saying a little while back that, you know, Starship pads aren't pads, they're runways. Think of them like runways, and think of the transport stools like taxiways. And there it is. Kiko is the vice president of launches at SpaceX. He basically runs all of their launch operations. We're never reaching 200 Falcons a year. No, listen. Shortfall of Gravitas can support a 4-day launch cycle time with RTLS missions in parallel. This is exactly how we operate on the West Coast. Just Read the Instructions will join the You'll Thank Me Later support ship to support Starship and Super Heavy transport from Starbase to the Cape. We have a plan for any double downrange Falcon Heavy missions. If there was a 5-segment mod on CCAN, would you use it? Probably not. Getting CCAN installed again. Does anybody have any suggestions? Oh. Guys, can somebody help Magellan out in the comments? So 2 boosters, 1 barge. Yes, I think, I mean, what else would it be? Me and Nathan and Ground Truth were having we had a good conversation about this morning. Yeah, like I said, on one hand, I'm happy to see Starship ramp up further, but on the other hand, it's truly the end of an era, yeah. Just Read the Instructions was SpaceX's second drone ship after Just Read the Instructions 1. Just Read the Instructions 1, they tried 2 landings on it, didn't work, and then they retooled this one and called it Just Read the Instructions, and then it did 156 landings. But yeah, anyway. Yak? Yak. Anyway, we can talk more about that later. Let's build this thing. Yeah, Flight 12 is definitely going to be... Flight 12 is going to be a mission of all time, dude. Oh my goodness. Oh, Baron. What? What's up? What's on your mind? Oh yeah. Northrop Grumman's cooking something. They got something in the slow cooker. Huh. Huh. They're cooking something. Bruh. That's pretty cool, dude. Sorry, I just thought going with the music would be... Gonna go underwater? I don't know. Okay, so how are we gonna go about making a 5-segment booster? Stop scrubbing with the music. Don't tell me what to do. Pasto, that's not a working GEM 63XL. Hey, W, watched AIAA, missed you. Oh, yeah. Dude, I've been in aerospace. I said this in the Discord yesterday. Aerospace planes and rockets have just invaded my existence like the last 3 weeks, and I'm kind of like, all right. Am I supposed to be upset about this? Like, let's Ares 1 it up. All right, well, yeah, we got to make a 5-segment booster. We got to, let's start looking up design specifications for the 5 segments. Let's go digging. Give me 1 second. All right. 5-segment booster, dudes. So, we'll go back to working on the core stage here in a moment. Where is my, Since you're adding a segment and going from 4 to 5, shouldn't it be Aries 1.25? No, Aries, well, it depends, dude. Did I really put Starliner on top of it? Okay, no, I just called it Jebliner. I was gonna say, please, no. So I have Jebstone 4. Jebstone 4 is a medium to heavy, actually, it's pretty much a heavy-duty launch vehicle in Kerbal. This thing is, for the most part, a 4-segment shuttle booster with a Saturn 1B, or an S4B, attached to the top. That's what it is. I came up with this design in my first career mode save that we did, and it is a monster vehicle. It can push 18 tons into low Earth or low Kerbin orbit easily. Could edit the craft file to give it more fuel and thrust for the 5-segment. Mutter, that might not be the worst idea, dude. Welcome back. Thanks, Izep. So, Ares 1, the reason why that depends. All right, so let me give you guys a quick background here. So, there's Ares 1X here. All right, Ares 1X was a prototype concept that NASA designed in the that NASA was working on in the late 2000s for the Constellation program. It was supposed to launch Orion. It was supposed to be Orion's low Earth orbit access vehicle. We decided we didn't want to do it because it was behind schedule. Yeah. A lot of political mumbo jumbo went into this, to say the least, guys. You know, you've probably heard me talk about this before. I won't bore anybody, but I'll be honest, after Artemis 2, I just feel like we don't need to be mad about past projects getting canceled. I don't need to be mad. We sent people back to the moon. Yeah, sure, it was just a flyby, but hey, that's progress, man. I'm gonna enjoy the W for a little while. I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's enjoy the win, right? So, long story short, Ares 1 was kind of supposed to be a prototype. What they wanted to do is test the 5-segment SRBs, the same SRBs that Artemis 2 used, same design, right? Only Ares 1 was supposed to have a liquid fuel upper stage on it. Now, they wanted to use off-the-shelf components because the shuttle program was on its way out, and they were operating this while the shuttle program was running, so it was easier to do. You just use the shuttle's supply chains that are already there, like the shuttle's crawler, right? Shuttle crawler transporter, use the shuttle launch pad, etc., and go. Ares 1X, once again, was a prototype test flight, but Ares 1X to the Ares 1 rocket is like what Starship Flight 1 is to Starship, right? NASA was going for a more iterative approach with this. So what this thing actually is a shuttle 4-segment booster with a dud 5th segment on top of it. And then the adapter, a prototype structural adapter here. The structural adapter was real, like a real one. That was a real Ares 1 adapter. The reason why is because you don't have any roll control here with Ares 1 being a single stick rocket and having one engine at the bottom. There's no way to be able to roll the rocket. So the interstage here has RCS in it, a reaction control system that will turn it at liftoff, right? And then up here, you had a mass simulator to simulate the upper stage. There's basically just a bunch of counterweights in here. And then you had a boilerplate Orion with its launch abort system. You can see that's an older version of Orion's LAS. We saw the final version on Artemis 2. And I will say that an Orion with a LAS on top of this would look really, really nice. I personally think Ares 1 looks really cool. Some people don't like it. It's the internet. You guys discuss amongst yourselves whether you like it or not. I think it looks cool. So this was supposed to test the 5-segment booster that would eventually be on the Constellation program's Ares 5 vehicle. Ares 5 was an idea that NASA had in the 2000s for lunar exploration. If you think about SLS and you think about how powerful SLS is, Ares 5 is SLS on steroids. Seriously. 10-meter core design. 10-meter core. SLS's current core is 8.4 meters. This is a 10-meter design. So this is as big as a Saturn V with 5-segment boosters attached to it. Ares 5 is pretty stout in terms of a launch vehicle. They were projecting 188 tons to low Earth orbit, you know, when they were working on it. And it would have been able to do 60 to 70 tons translunar injection, which is, yes, yeet. That's a lot, dude. Now, Starship could do something like this, but it would need to refuel a lot of times. But yeah, these are insane numbers. Not even Starship could move 180 tons into space into one shot. At least not this version. We'll see what happens with Block 3, right? So this is an SLS on steroids, dude. Ares 5 was gonna be beast, man. But they got rid of it, and a lot more political mumbo jumbo went down, and then they retired the shuttle, and then we kind of got SLS as a consolation prize to canceling the Constellation program. It's a little more complicated than that. You've probably heard me talk about it before. I don't want to get into it, man. Like I said, I'm still riding that W that was Artemis 2, right? So what Ares 1 ultimately would have been used for is to move Orion into low Earth orbit to test it, right? And use it as starting as a baseline vehicle to replace crew rotations for the space shuttle program. We ended up not doing that, and they ended up leaning more into the commercial crew program, which did take some time, but we saved $30 billion. Yeah, exactly. So there's a picture of the mass simulator for the upper stage. They stacked it in the VAB just like they'd stack any other rocket, which is actually pretty cool. I think Ares 1 is, like I said, I like it. I think it's a good design. I still think it's a good design. And actually, it would probably be pretty inexpensive to try and make this work today, especially since we have, like, Bolay boosters coming in, right? Like, 5-segment is already pretty well researched at this point. I mean, that's kind of backwards. Ares 1 was supposed to do the 5-segment booster research for Ares 5, so it'd be easier to build a super heavy launch vehicle, because you already got data on the 5-segment. We ended up just teching right to the 5-segment super heavy launch vehicle instead of building the interim. Like, if we're going to speak in game terms, right? So, this was used to test the first, this would have been used to test the first 5-segment, right? So guess what? Guess what we're doing? Let's build one. Now, like I said, I have Jebstone 4. Hey, Wolfstride, as far as the graphics on the sides, even those affect things ever so slightly. I'm wondering if they have to place graphics exactly opposite each other on both sides. The graphics on the booster? No, negligible amounts. Oh yeah, Mutter, thank you. Yeah, so what we'll do to test out our 5 segments is build the thing on the left first, and then we'll build I'll build SLS instead of Ares 5 on the right. I don't know about you guys. So what I want to do with when we build SLS, when we build the core stage, would anybody be upset if I just kind of built the upper stage I want SLS to have up there? Is that anybody gonna object to that, or yeah? Nuh-uh. Is that fine? Can we do that? Like if EJ was NASA administrator tomorrow, I'd be like, I want this upper stage, right? EUS with a J2X. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Discovery, go
I
and
think that
throttle up.
Ares 1's stage 2 would have been a decent stage for SLS. No. I think the propulsion really was the whole point. See, how the Constellation program was supposed to work, dudes, is Ares 1 was supposed to test the concepts for not only flying in Ares 1 and flying in Orion, but the second stage was using what's called the J2X. It was a basically upgraded, hot-rodded version of the J2 upper stage that was in the Saturn V and the Saturn 1. Well, Saturn 1B, let's say. So the idea there, and Mutter, let me get that picture back. Where's that double picture that I just had of both of these things? Oh, it's gone. And it's gone. Maybe I still have the link in paste mode? Yes. So the idea with Constellation is what they were going to do. Prototype the 5-segment booster. Prototype the upper stage with the J2, right? And then when you went to make Ares 5, you can offset the cost here because your propulsion for your first stage, the 5-segment, you already did the engineering for it. Just put the nose cones on it and go, right? And then the upper stage for Ares 5 was that's probably where this would have gotten a little bit expensive, if I'm really going to be honest. It would have had something called an Earth Departure Stage, or EDS for short. The Earth Departure Stage was supposed to have a J2X in it. But the idea is that your propulsion is already made. Keep in mind, guys, this was made at a time in the late... These vehicles were really engineered out at a time in the mid to late 2000s where it's not like how it is now, dudes. There was basically no commercial market for commercially operated vehicles. No Falcon 9. SpaceX had flown... When these vehicles were made, SpaceX had barely flown Falcon 1. Barely flown Falcon 1. Hey, Blackness, what's going on? 79-month resub. So the idea here is that, there's no market, there's no commercial off-the-shelf super heavy launch vehicle. So you got to make it, right? You got to make it with a low Earth orbit access vehicle, which, once again, I think that's a good idea. I still think that's a good idea, if you really want my honest opinion. A lot of people disagree with me on that, but it's fine, whatever. In Kerbal, I don't care if they disagree. I can make whatever I want. So the idea is that you did your research for your super heavy launch vehicle with your smaller vehicle. Once again, that is not the worst idea. That's not the stupidest idea in the world. That had been done in the past to very, very good success, right? The Saturn 1 led to the Saturn 1B, which led to the the Saturn 1 led to the Saturn 5, which led to the Saturn 1B, if you really want to know. But yeah. So, EUS, please. I was thinking something better than that, Nicholas. I mean, we could see the feasibility of putting a GS2 up there if you guys wanted to do that, but we gotta make sure that it can relight its engines. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Sorry, Blue. I know you guys work hard. Just ribbing you a little bit. It'll be fine. I have no doubts. Like, I have no doubts you'll get it right. Like, don't worry about it. Don't fret. You guys got this. I was going to ask if yours was going to have asymmetric thrust. Nope. Clock's ticking, though. They are a bit under the gun, Bim. That's for sure. Let me put it to you like this, dude. I know a lot of people that work at Blue. A lot of people that are in the trenches at Blue doing, turning the wrenches, building stages, stuff like that. I'm not just saying this to gain favor like with them. I'm not just saying that because my friends work there. They screwed up. You screwed up with Bluebird. You screwed up pretty bad. But, hey, man, what are you going to do? Stop? They ain't going to stop. The people that I know there are some of the smartest, most technically competent people that I've had the pleasure of meeting in my travels through this industry. I'm not, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. You got to own up to your mistake, which they did, and then go. That's this industry, dude. This stuff's tough, dude. If you don't, I've been kind of formulating, over the years, I've been formulating my thoughts about this. And my thoughts are basically like, look, oh God, no, that's not a good time for Pocasonic retro propulsion. My thoughts on this are basically as follows. Like, you have to give the physics the attention and respect that it deserves. And if you don't, if you go disrespecting physics, it will humble you very fast, right? But just like design, build, and fly, right? The most humbling failures are the ones that teach you the best. Like, that's the truth. Some of my worst failures in KSP were failing in a very public way, and yeah, those are the best teachers, man. Like, something like that, Tessa. Like, if you gotta, I think, I'm not sure if it's schedule pressure or what, but yeah. You have ways of getting humbled very fast. Very fast. Missed your streams. They're fun. Hey, Sad, what's going on? I'm doing all right. Will they reuse the NG3 stage for the next launch still? Hey, Oliver, I didn't see any problems with that first stage. That first stage landing looked clutch as far as I could tell. It's just, yeah, that's a huge technical capability W right there, but it means nothing if you can't deliver the payload. It's like SpaceX with that what mission was it? Zuma. The Zuma mission. They delivered they reused the first stage. They landed the first stage and ultimately reused it, but yeah, if the mission fails, who cares? Very correct. I disregarded physics via ignorance when snowboarding in your 20s. You hit 4 Wachusett jumps in succession. I saw the treetop before gravity started to work more. Yeah, it's a good rule for life, Wolfstride. Yeah, you gotta give physics the respect it deserves, and if you don't, you're gonna get humbled really fast, man. I'm the same way, dude. I once upon a time, EJ was not a computer nerd, space nerd guy, and I was skateboarding at a skate park, and I dropped in on 13 feet of vert, and I paid for it with my wrist. Yeah. Yeah, you see that? That's not good. Don't worry. The proper physicians have been notified of that. But yeah, you have ways of paying for it, man. Yeah, Erudite, it's good, man. All right, let's get going here. Okay. Pain tax. Yep. If you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough, dude. All right. So how are we gonna go about... Let's call this Jebstone 1X. 5 segment variant. What day is it? 4/21/26. Hey Daria, how are you? All right, so 5 segment. How do you make a Starship HLS? Are the Mark III parts good enough? Yeah, priceless, sure. Let me think, how are we gonna do this? All right, let's start with the booster. I'm not gonna say we pretty much need to clean sheet this, but that's for the most part what we need to do. Let me just make sure I have the tail off curve here. Yes, we do. Let's just copy that. I am fine. I'll learn English soon. With Translate, it's not too bad, dude. You don't need to learn. Just use the translator. All right, let me think how we're gonna do this. All right, so
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I mean, Mutter, I'm thinking about just modifying the craft file. I could just show people how to do that. But then again, if people are playing on console, they're going to be a little... Get rid of those for a second. Get a little confused. We're also going to extend the upper stage, because more push down here means more better upper stage, bigger payload capacity. All right, so what I like doing, guys, is I play more or less stock KSP. I have some visual mods here and there. We have KRPC and a couple other things. You know, KRPC would be useful if I was good at coding, but whatever. Let's go in here like this. And because we don't really have any measuring tools, I make measuring tools out of struts and out of octags and struts. I gotta measure a couple of things here. So first of all, if we're gonna make a 5-segment booster, let's make the thing as long as we can. Now, once again, there's no 5-segment booster in this game. We have the Clydesdale. The Clydesdale is something we gotta... It's a 4-segment booster, but all the segments are bolted together. Now, people don't understand what a segmented SRB is. Let me clue you in. Sorry, dude, I try to give a lot of context to my builds, dudes. Because yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that we may or may not have new viewers over the past 3 weeks. So, hi, I'll teach you about spaceflight architecture. Thank you for watching on YouTube and on Twitch. So, these boosters are made out of segments. The segments are transported via train. All right. The segments are built in Ogden, Utah, and they're transported down to the Cape. It's been that way since the beginning of the shuttle program. Give me one moment. Ken Kremer took this picture. He's a space up close launch photographer. So they're transported in segments. Why are they transported in segments? Why not just build the whole thing? Well,
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Tessa gifted a sub to Andrew Omeda. Hi, I'm a new viewer and I love the context. I got you, man. I got you. So, yes, okay. A little bit more context. We got to do a little bit of a deep dive because I'm going to address the elephant in the room. It says do not hump on the side of those cars. What does that mean? No, it doesn't mean what you think it means unless you're a train nerd like I am, and then you know what it means. But if you don't know what it means, this refers to humping cars. With trains, there's these things called hump yards, okay? It's a freight yard, right? So you have a lot of different tracks, and you have one track at the beginning of your freight yard, and the track splits. It splits over time into 30 or 40 different tracks, okay? And at one end of the freight yard is up a hill. All right. So one side of the freight yard is up, the other side of the freight yard, it kind of goes down, levels off, and then it goes flat. So the whole freight yard is kind of tilted. It's on a grade in train terms. It's not the whole freight yard, but for the purpose of explanation. So what you do is a train goes to one end of the freight yard, right? And then you back the train up to the top of the hill or the hump, right? And then say this train needs 5 cars on track 1 and 5 different cars on track 2 and 5 different cars on track 3, right? They'll back the train up over the hump, right? Set the switches, and then when the car gets to the top of the hump, they'll uncouple it, and then they'll let it roll down the tracks and set the switches to the right track, right? Sometimes the cars aren't going to be in order, right? So say you had, the order of the cars going over the hill is like 1, 2, 3, and then like track 1, track 2, track 3, and then track 1, track 2, track 3 again. You got to back one up, uncouple it, set it for track 1, back one up, uncouple it, set it for track 2, back one up, uncouple it, set it for track 3, and then you back up the entire freight train up over the hump, right? And the cars freewheel down to the tracks that they need to be sorted on. Hump yards are all over. I don't really know if hump yards are a thing in like overseas. I'm going to go ahead and assume that they are. But in the US, we use them everywhere. A big hump yard, one of the biggest ones, is in North Platte, Nebraska. Union Pacific's sorting facility. They have 2, actually. There's 2 hump yards, one right next to another one. And if you see up here, this is a double track hump yard. And there's the hump right there. You get it over the hill, and then it freewheels down to your sorting tracks. This way you can sort freight trains. So say track 1 is going to Florida. Track 2 is going to Massachusetts. Track 3 is going to New York, right? You back a train up, and then you sort the cars, and then you go. You watch the big German one for workers. That's right, William. Yes, you guys do have those. Yeah. This hump yards are a really, really novel sorting mechanism. Now, think about the context here. This thing has 250 tons of booster fueled inside of it. Do you see why not rolling this over a hump yard is, why rolling it over a hump yard would be a bad idea? Freewheeling an SRB segment down a hill? Probably not the smartest thing to do, right? That's why it says do not hump on the cars. Now, inside of these cars, they're climate controlled, once again, because it has 250 tons of SRB segment in there. Because you don't want that getting hot ever, and you don't want to freewheel that down a hill. That's not a good idea. If you're a railroad fan, you'll notice these cars they have 4 bogies. You have 2 bogies in the front, 2 bogies in the back. Bogies are the trucks where the wheels are. The more wheels that a train has, the heavier it is. All right, at least when it comes to cars. When it comes to railroad cars. So like this has 4 bogies. Anybody that knows a little bit about trains knows whatever's in there is very, very heavy. Now, what is in there? Like I said, SRB segment. So, SLS, Aries 1, Aries 5, they use a segmented SRB. I gotta find it.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
There's should be B-roll of it somewhere. Like this? Hey, so Spartan, 76-month resub. Yeah, KSA is going to have segmented boosters. Why can I not find it? There's... Here, let's check this. Let's see. Old NASA TV footage. Okay, there we go. They're making a case for the segments here.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
There's the segments, and then they pour the SRB fuel into the segment, right? And they cast it like concrete. See? The shape denotes how much thrust you make because it changes the surface area of your combustion chamber. When SRBs burn, they burn like that. They ablate, well, not ablate, they burn in the center out. Why did I pick the one video that does not really have much footage of the actual segments? I'll find more. That's the thrust vector control. The thrust vector control is powered by an auxiliary power unit. SLS still uses those. Here. A good shot of the segments is here. This is in the RPRSF. So when the train gets to Kennedy Space Center, this is what moves the segments. Why is NASA still using solid rocket boosters? Because they work. They work really well. So, see how they're made in segments? The segments actually click together. They click together kind of like Legos, and then you bolt them together on top of that. In between segments, there's a clevis system. So like if you're looking at a side profile of the segments, they fit together kind of like this. And then they have O-rings in the center. There's 3 of them in redundancy that keep the explosion inside. So we can't build segments in stock KSP. Like we don't have segmented SRBs. See, there they are picking up one in the RPRSF. This is the solid rocket booster rotation and processing facility. And then they put them on the stand here to put the aft skirt on and install the nozzle, etc., etc. These are aft segments. That's the one that has the business end on it. How much thrust difference would there be if they were using liquid instead of solid? Which are better? So, how was your trip? It was great, cousin. It was fine. It really depends on what you're trying to do. Lokatana, I would say that solid rocket boosters probably have better applications as first stages, but that doesn't mean there aren't vacuum optimized SRBs that are second stages. Antares in the 230 Plus variant, which no longer flies, used a Castor 30XL. It is a vacuum optimized single casing SRB. Once again, and that's what I was going to get into. These are segmented SRBs. There's also single case SRBs. The reason why they're using segmented SRBs for the shuttle program and for SLS is because transport. They're easier to transport them by train from the factory where they make them. SRBs the segment has to be vertical, and you pour the solid rocket fuel in and it has to cure like concrete, dude. So it takes a second to make these things, right? But yeah, that's why they're using segmented. It's easier for transport. So solid rocket boosters are generally better. Generally, keep in mind, the real answer to this is it depends. It depends on what you're trying to do. You can use all solids. There is, like I said, there is solid upper stages. That's absolutely a thing. EJ's personal opinion. I think they work better as first stage engines. I think they work better as first stages engines because they have a lot of energy. SRBs carry a ton of energy because solids are more dense than liquids and gases, right? So you can get more energy in the same amount of volume. So let me put it to you like this. You want a little bit of a comparison here. All right. The 5-segment SRBs, now keep in mind this is Ares 1 and Ares 5, but they're using Ares 1 and Ares 5 use the same 5-segment SRB design as SLS, okay? That thing right there produces 14,000 kilonewtons of thrust. It's actually it's more nowadays. It's somewhere north of 14 meganewtons. That's really, really powerful for a single engine. The strongest liquid fuel engine that we've ever made in the US is the F1 engine, Saturn V first stage. And the most powerful liquid fuel rocket engine is the Russian RD-170, or one of its derivatives nowadays, which is called the RD-171MV. So 171MV means the modernized variant in Russian. That's what MV stands for. The RD-170s first flew on Buran Energia in the 80s. RD-170s produce, like, once again, most powerful liquid fuel rocket engine we've ever made. Humanity has ever made. It produces 6,700 kilonewtons of thrust. This thing produces double that. So you can get a much bigger, you could pack a much bigger punch in a much smaller area with SRBs. They're not the most efficient thing around. Their specific impulse is generally lower than liquid fuel engines in general. They're not bad for a first stage application. I would contend to say that they're really not bad for what NASA's trying to do. NASA doesn't need a launch vehicle that launches all the time. Just one that launches every once in a while, right? Even the Saturn V, the Saturn V didn't launch. It only launched once every 2 months. Even like with the crazy funding with Apollo, etc., every 2 months I would say is fine. That's perfectly sustainable lunar exploration. So, you know, you don't need to necessarily have rapid reuse with a NASA vehicle, even though that'd probably be a good idea. I would argue that rapid reuse with NASA's low frequency of flight is going to end up hindering. That'd end up hindering instead of helping. The case in point is one of my all-time favorite vehicles, the Space Shuttle. They didn't really have, this is the wrong music for this. They didn't, because NASA really didn't need to launch the shuttle all the freaking time. It ended up hurting that program. You know? SpaceX is opting for a vehicle that's going to, they're opting for full rapid reuse. The reason why they're doing that with Starship, right, is because they need something that launches every hour to maintain the Starlink network, right? That's the whole idea. The whole idea is you need something that's rapidly reusable to maintain Starlinks and upgrade the Starlink satellites as, you know, we get further into, as the years go by, I guess. So, like I said, it really depends. Like in an engineering application, SRBs make they're great first stages, or great for as an attachable solution. So like if you need your rocket to carry a little extra kick, right? You just adopt the old Kerbal moniker of add more boosters, right? The reason why SRBs are very good for this is because they're relatively small for the amount of power that they make. SLS, for instance, has 2 of those 5 segments on it, and it makes more liftoff thrust than the Saturn V. Coupled with the 4 shuttle engines, it makes way more thrust. Saturn V had 7.5 million pounds of thrust. SLS has 8.8 million pounds of thrust. SRBs really pack a good punch. They pack enough punch to be able to send an Orion capsule out around the moon. We saw that the other day. Pretty cool. I did touch on it, Mayor, but I think that's getting a little bit too much into the weeds. So, anyway, we can't make segments here. Okay, in Kerbal, in stock KSP, you have one 4-segment booster that's actually just kind of acting as a single case booster. So if we we don't have a solution, right? If we don't have a solution that's an exact analog to the real life thing, do what most engineers do. Find another way. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to find another way to make something like a 5-segment booster. All right, so first thing that I'm going to do is measure. I want to measure I want to measure the length of a segment here, and that's why I have these. These are here to basically I'm using them as a ruler to measure the segment length. Now we can move this here. Okay. The back side of the strut there, of the strut thing, is being used there. These are struts in different octags, different pieces in Kerbal that you can use. The struts are used to hold stuff together. I'm using it as a ruler here. So we can get our segment length here by doing this. Let's move this one here. And now the 3D artist that modeled this clearly showed us, like, the 4 segments are clearly indicated here. So 1, 2, 3, and then you have your aft segment. The aft segment is inside of the skirt. That's what this piece is called. That's the skirt. That's actually what holds the SRB up. What would it take to get Falcon Heavy to launch the Artemis program? You'd need to go redesigning a lot of things, Repaid. Off topic, check it. I built a robot this year, 2-for-1 special. Oh. 2-month design cycle, faster than last year and 20 kilogram lighter. We're winning this thing. There you go, Sea Kraken. That's cool, man. So, yeah, like I said, just general high-level overview. SRBs are great for first stage engines. They pack a lot of punch in a very small surface area, or a very small volume. There's a lot of punch in a volume because solid is denser than liquid, right? Solids, the flip side of that is that solids are not very efficient and they're very high mass. But most of that mass is fuel, so they are favored. Like, they're a reason why we still use them. Why NASA still uses them. Why ULA uses them. The Europeans use the P-120C on the Ariane 6 rocket. Vega uses a P-120C as its first stage engine. There's a really good reason. And SRBs are relatively cheap to make next to a liquid fuel engine. And once again, there's... like, that's like if you compare 1-to-1, right? If you manufacture in bulk, either way, you're going to save money, right? The reason why, for instance, SpaceX is able to get prices down on things like Falcon 9 and hopefully Starship in the future is because they make a lot of them. They make a lot of them because the demand is there, because they need to keep Starlink going, because making money is that's not a bad thing, right? Like, we want that. That's a good idea. The Soviets don't use solids, though. Yeah. They don't use solids for launch vehicles, Wolf, but they have solid rocket designs. It's just not the cool kind of solids that move things into space and the things stay in space. Now, a relative downside of an SRB is that you can't shut it off. So if something goes wrong, you got a big problem. But nothing usually, if you do your homework, right, the SRB is relatively simple to make, and there's not a lot of moving parts. So usually, it's good to do, you do your homework and it works. I mean, SRBs have been reliably moving people into space for years, through the space shuttle and now with SLS, right? Like, it's not that they're necessarily bad, it's just different. It's a different thing for a different application, right? I know, like, the very easy thing to say is like, oh, well, SpaceX isn't using solids because they want rapid reuse. Well, yeah, of course. Rapid reuse doesn't work for NASA. We tried that. They tried that in the 80s with that big winged orbiter. Remember that thing? NASA doesn't need a vehicle like that. They need something that can push the boundaries of exploration. Now, in the future, if that's a Starship, that'd be great, but yeah, we'll see. So, we have the length of a segment, so now, because we don't really have a good way to, hang on, I'm gonna switch up the playlist. Give me one moment. Yep. Let's go with this playlist. So because we can't make a 5-segment solid rocket booster, we're going to have to fudge things, all right? Or figure out another way. So the first thing I want to do is kind of make it look like a solid rocket booster. So how are we going to do that? Just like Ares 1X, and there's a reason why I brought it up. Just like Ares 1X, I will put a dud up here. We'll put a dud up, put a dud 5th segment in. Ares 1 had a 4-segment booster with a inerted segment making up the 5th segment for the test flight. Yeah, something like that, Tessa, exactly. Any plans to launch the Nancy Grace Roman press conference at 4:15, or are you going to stick with Kerbal? We can have this be a part 1, dude. I'll watch the press conference. So now what I want to do. So what am I going to make the fifth segment out of? We can make it out of fuel tanks if you really want to, but I don't want to do that. Let's think. I could always take another SRB, another Clydesdale. And we could flip this around. We could flip it around and we could flip it around and make it look like it. We can flip it around and make it look like we got a fifth segment. Oh, yeah, look at that. I don't think I want to do that because I think the nozzle on the SRB is going into my second stage. That's cool, but I don't think that's what we should do. The Z fighting is not great. In 3D, guys, for context here, when you have two 3D surfaces that are directly clipped into each other, like directly overlapping, it makes this weird texture phenomenon called Z fighting. We don't like that. Hey, Ressi, what's going on? What's worse, empty SRB or long fairing mass? Let's take a look. So an empty Clydesdale is 21 tons. Yeah, no, the fairing is definitely better. So we can use a fairing here. Do we have a launch date for Starship or still nothing? Still nothing. What did I just do? Oh. I clicked the mouse by accident. Let's take a look here. How are we gonna do this? All right, here's what we'll do. Let me grab this on the Cal controller. Let me grab the Clydesdale. Copy the thrust curve. I'll speak to more about what that means in a moment, and then detach this thing. And then put that fairing in line again, right? And then do that. Now, is it still bound to the Cal controller? Open the editor. It is. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure. That right there is to simulate what's called a tail off, a thrust tail off. SRBs don't really output at full thrust the entire time. Well, they can. It really depends on how you make them. Give me 1 second. My struts didn't get aligned. Yes. So depending on actually how you pack the fuel inside of the SRB depends on how it flies. Like, here, let's do grain. So check this out. Packing the solid rocket fuel in different shapes can make different amounts of thrust. The solid rocket boosters that are on SLS and the space shuttle have it's kind of a combination, because when you're using segmented SRBs, you can make a couple of different shapes in each segment, and that can get you an SRB that throttles, but the throttling is hard coded once you light it. Once you light it, it's going to throttle in a very certain way, and that's about it. right? So, for instance, the SRBs on SLS and on the space shuttle throttle down when the booster is going to encounter max Q. They throttle back up, right? Or the thrust output goes up because of the volume. Well, it's combustion chamber surface area is really what it is. The combustion chamber surface area on an SRB is changing because the fuel gets burned off the walls, right? So the shuttle SRBs are designed to basically 100% throttle down for max Q, throttle back up after maximum dynamic pressure, right? And then they tail off and thrust. The thrust goes down. We figured out a way to do that in Kerbal by using a cal controller. This cal controller is used to modulate thrust output on the SRB to get it to do exactly that. It takes the thrust limiter and makes it go up, throttle back down, go up again, and then tail off. It works. It works surprisingly well. So we have our programmable thrust curve here. I don't think we're going to necessarily need to change the thrust curve. I don't think we're necessarily going to need to change the thrust curve on the SRB. We just need to give it a little more thrust. We need to have it pack a little bit more punch. Now, like I said, there's a couple of different ways we can go about doing that, but we'll see. Yeah, BPS. My buddy Joe has a lot of good videos about this. That's right. He's the solid rocket guy when it comes to... He's the SRB guy when it comes to, like, content creators. Spaceflight content creators out there. I'm going to use my rulers, and then what I'm going to do, like I said, we're going to fudge it. We're going to make a segment. We're going to make a segment out of a fairing. Let me copy one of these bad boys. What I need my fairing to be here, I need it to be the exact same diameter here. So what I'm going to do is take another... How many segments does Titan 3C use? I have no idea off the top of my head. Look. Let me look. UA 1205. Attachable booster. Huh. Seven. You could have 5 or 7 segments. In fact, the shuttle program got the segmented SRB idea from the Titan program. I'm not going to say they scaled it up, but this is where they got the idea. Oof. Titan ended up being such a strange rocket, dude. Look at that. Solid rocket boosters, right? And then you had a center stage that's hypergolic, meaning you have Aerozine 50 and I think it's NTO, right? Nitrogen tetroxide. Those are propellants that when they hit each other, they explode. It simplifies your rocket design, but those propellants are hilariously bad for you, right? So we have solids on the outside, hypergolic center core, hypergolic second stage, and then 2 solid star, those are star solid rocket booster upper stages right there. I mean, this is a Titan 34D, so that is 2 solid rocket upper stages there. Hey Hawk, what's going on? 82-month resub. It's using N204. Yikes. Yeah, the Titan, you could put Centaurs up there. You could put a trans stage up there. You could put an IUS up there. Like, it really was kind of a Kerbal Lego kit rocket. Like, yeah. Kerosene 50 NTO. You know, it was NTO. Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all the same thing. Now I'm looking at that. Anyway. All right, that shows the diameter that we need for the fairing. So here's what we do. We go to the fairing, we build it, and then I use these. Right? And now we have another casing. There it is. Now we could take this and... Jeez, now Jepstone just looks goofy. This just looks weird. Who used hypergolic so far? What are the rockets that flew this? Titan used it. A lot of missiles, older ICBM designs, which is what Titan was, uses that. Proton uses it. Proton uses a little bit of a different variant because, yeah, Proton is using unsymmetrical dimethylhydrazine and N2O4. Yeah, nitrogen tetroxide, as opposed to Aerosine 50. They're all just slightly different versions. It's like naphtha versus gasoline or diesel fuel. It's just slightly different variations on the same kind of thing. But yeah, all kinds of missiles use them. There are other applications for hypergolics too. Service module, Orion service module uses them.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
How's Titan the dog? I took him for a walk today. How do you like hydrogen fluorine for an upper stage? That's great if you just want to make using hydrogen, which is already a complicated thing, like even more complicated, you know. Shuttle OMS uses them, Apollo CSM. Yeah, hypergols are used in satellite thrusters. The reason why is because hypergolics are basically forever chemicals, like that. They don't decompose. They just stay liquid, which is not like generally good, but for a spacecraft,
this is space.
great
I'm in
idea.
space.
Oh yeah. Nova gifted a sub to Pentaborane, and then Jasper had a 73-month resub. Thank you. All right, get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, the propellants don't decompose. Hypersonic, they don't boil off. That's why Hypersonic, that's why for a long time, dude, I've been like, yo, let's just make a lander using hypergols so we don't have to work on refueling our landers, right? Yeah, people don't want to hear that. They don't like hearing what I have to say about it. I mean, some of you guys do. Some of you guys agree. Some people don't. That's fine. Whatever. It's all right. The reason why is because if we're trying to be expedient with our lunar missions, doing it quicker is probably a better idea. But there we go. We have at least the shape of a 5-segment booster. That looks goofy. Can you open the SRB file and extract the texture to a flag? A flag? Yeah, sure. You look goofy. No? No, you. I'll just use the fairing texture. That's fine. Yeah, you've been horrible on the lungs, but those just joined Ares 1? Yeah. I want to make 5 segments for an SLS. And I figure Ares 1 would probably, making something like that, Sam, would probably be a good place to start. But now we have to give this thing the kick. It needs to have more thrust. How are we going to do that? And how much more oomph do we want this thing to have? We definitely don't want the casing fairing
Discovery,
in the stage.
go at throttle up.
Well, let's take a look. We can do some really, really basic quick maps out here. STS SRB. Space Shuttle RSRMs, the solid 4-segment solid rocket boosters here. How much thrust is the... Oh. Just excuse me for a second. Huh? Sorry. Yeah. I did. Sorry.
Go at throttle up.
Sorry. My fault. Oh, like. Yeah. Sorry. The shuttle's awesome. Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's take a look. Maximum thrust. 15. Okay. Now, Space Launch System. Go over here. Sorry. Let's see. 5-segment boosters. What do they make? Okay, where's the... whatever. 2 5-segment SRBs at sea level make about 30 meganewtons of thrust, so... 15,000. Their burn time, though, 126. Specific impulse 268 at 123 seconds. 269, a little bit better, at 126. Huh. .6, 16 meganewtons. Oh yeah. So this thing says maximum thrust 15. The shuttle boosters make 14. This maximum thrust is vacuum. That's the vacuum thrust that it makes. Rockets tend to make a little bit more thrust up there than they do down here. I mean, that really depends on what's called your expansion ratio. So the shape of the nozzle. They tend to work better up there. The reason why is that there's no atmosphere in the way to contain the gases. That's why, like, if we go back and look at the staging footage, no, I'm not using this as an excuse to see staging footage again. You see how the gases are expanding sideways? Like it's like a cone that comes out the back instead of just a straight like kind of volume. That's why they tend to make more thrust. There's less atmosphere to get into and impinge your exhaust jet, I guess would be the right way to say that. So that is the upper level of like what these boosters can produce. They produce about 14, or I think it's 12 to 13,000 kilonewtons of thrust at liftoff. Now couple that, we go forward to the SR. Hey. Go over here to the SLS. SLS is 14 at liftoff, and it goes up to 16, which is gross. The shuttle is 12 to 15. SLS is 14 to 16, which is, yeah, those 5 segments. That is by far and away the most powerful single engine, like single rocket engine ever made. Yeah, think about that for a second. If you watch the Artemis II launch on April 1st, you saw 2 of the most powerful rockets humanity has ever made working in unison with each other, launching that thing up into space. The AJ-260 was bigger, darker, but I don't think it made that much thrust. And there certainly wasn't 2 of them strapped together on a booster. Did they adjust the thrust and fuel for each mission based on mass and trajectory for the shuttle? There were little tweaks that you could do, Brandon, but for the most part, no. So, we're going to have to figure out the ratio there, but I do believe that NASA's press conference is starting here. So, we need to give this thing a little bit more kick out of the gates. So we need to go messing with its thrust curve now. We can give this thing a little more kick, but there's not that much extra burn time for it, which is very interesting. We can actually fudge that. Like, would you like to have seen Ares 5 instead of SLS? Hanks, I'm very opinionated on this subject, dude. I honestly and truly think that powering through with Constellation probably would have been a better idea. I know people are looking at me funny through the computer. Is this Ares 1? Yeah, something like that.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
If it was me at the time, I would have leaned heavily into, and I still think we should do this to an extent, dude. Do what? Sorry, I didn't tell you what I think we should do. I think that NASA needs its own rockets for scientific purposes. I think a scientific rocket is very different. It looks very different than what a commercial rocket looks like. That doesn't mean that there isn't crossover here, right? NASA has used Falcon 9 to great success with resupplying the space station and sending people to the space station and using it to launch scientific payloads like the Nancy Grace Roman telescope that we're about to, the press conference that we're about to see. I got to jog the YouTube bot. Hey, Trojan, 85-month resub. Thank you. Right? There's been great successes here. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Falcon is a good rocket for like a lunar exploration. It's not. I don't care what anybody says. It's not. Especially with how NASA goes about doing their missions. They don't need a rocket that's going to fly all the time. Could you use it? Could you use Falcon and Dragon for it? Yeah, you'd probably get away with it. But using Falcon for lunar exploration would have been like using the Gemini program in the 60s for lunar exploration. Could we have done it? Yeah. Would it have been good? Yeah. But it's not Orion and SLS. It's not Apollo, right? So I think NASA should have their own rockets. And I think if we had just gone down the path of finishing Constellation, I mean, worst case scenario, dude, the rockets get delayed. Ares 1 doesn't fly. Like, this is the absolute worst case scenario. Ares 1 doesn't fly until 2017. with Orion on it. That was like the worst case scenario that the OIG projected at the time. So, okay, Ares 1 flies with people on it in 2017 with Orion to the space station. You do 3 Orion missions to the space station every year, because once again, NASA going to the space station they don't need to do that, right? So you get Orion up there, you get Orion docked to the space station, and then when Dragon comes online, you switch Orion over to, with Ares 1 over to whatever, and you start working on Ares 5. The absolute worst case scenario is that Ares 5 was scheduled, per the original schedule, was supposed to be flown probably like 2020, 2021, 2022. That's what the original projections were for the Constellation program. So the worst case scenario is that Ares 5 is getting operational like right now. I don't know how anybody can look at that and say like that what actually happened is better. Like, that's just the absolute worst case scenario. Hey, Shmemeron. There have been so much space news. Yeah. And that actually reminds me. So that's going to do it for part 1 of building out SLS and building out our 5 segments for SLS. We'll do part 2 probably on Friday here, but I want to get into space news with you guys, and I want to talk about the NASA press conference that's about to happen here for the Nancy Roman Space Telescope. There's a big press conference at Goddard today, NASA Goddard. So let's go and watch this presser and let's see what's up. I will warn everybody, like, it's gonna take me a second to get back into the streaming groove. I've been a little bit busy lately.
Discovery.
Hey, Ghost Rider, 48-month resub. It seems the size required for liquid makes it massive compared to the solid rocket alternative. Well, like I said, repaid, it's not. If you're getting into rocket science, like if you're newer into it, all right, like because of Artemis 2, I want to just go over something here real quick before we jog the VOD, all right? Hey, Passing Wind, what's up? There are applications for solids. There are applications for liquids. There are applications for certain types of propellant, liquid propellants, like using kerosene or using hydrogen or using methane. There's an application for everything, right? And that application depends on really the biggest thing with rockets. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? It's not that one is particularly better than the other. Like they have areas where there's trade-offs, right? It's always a trade-off, right? It always is. Yes, I know full and well what I just did. This was trade-offs well before it was some stupid meme that kids use, okay? It's one or the other. Like, with science, there's generally, like, or with engineering, there's generally no way to have your cake and eat it too. So you have trade-offs. NASA uses solids because they have a lot of energy. SLS uses solids because it has a lot of energy to push something out to the moon. Could you do it with liquid fuel stuff? Yeah, sure. But if you're only flying every once in a while, like even SLS flying 4 times a year would be 1 every 3 months. Yeah, it's still easier to use solids because they're so much simpler. They have one moving part, the nozzle. That's about it. It's very simple, right? So that favors like lower frequencies of flight, right? That makes no sense for something like SpaceX. For someone like SpaceX, that makes no sense. They want to fly every hour. Trying to use solids to fly every hour that's obviously not going to work. So that's why you just generally don't see that with SpaceX. Anyway, the press conference is starting and I'm going to jump into it. Let's just jog the YouTube VOD real quick. I'll be right back. Hope you enjoyed part 1.